Hey guys, I am new to this whole YouTube live thing. So if you are able to, let me know who's here. I can see that we've got 4 people on YouTube. So let me know if you're here. Let me know who's here on, looks like Janice is on our Podbean stream. So who is here to talk with us today? I'm just updating our pages so that people know that we are starting now, and I'm giving them our Podbean link. Aha! Yes, you are, Amy. Don't lie. Amy, did you hear the news over the last couple days? So the reason we wanted to start the live video, so you heard it. The reason we want to do the live video is because, or the live podcast, is because there have been some good and some people perceive as bad announcements over the past 2 days. So we wanted to give voice to those. We wanted to just let everybody be heard and have a platform for everyone to talk on. So, Amy, what are your thoughts? You're probably not that disappointed in the announcement, I'm guessing. Hi, Martha. Okay. So if you are on the YouTube video or the YouTube live, I can see your comments. Let me know what questions you have. Let me know what you want to say. Put them in the comments. We have some people calling in on our Podbean site. So that is an option too. All right, Janice, are you here?
I am.
Okay.
I'm not seeing you on YouTube, though. I was going to do both, but you're not. Should you be showing up on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm live right now. There's some people on it. Martha, you're pretty teed off. The cast that is confirmed, I don't think there has been any confirmed. I know that Jack Louise Fox, I don't know why I said his middle name, but Jack Fox, Crystal Clark, and Rose Williams are the confirmed, but only because they themselves put out something. Those are the ones that I know of for certain. Paula Byrne, who is the one who is really active on Twitter today, hasn't said much about, and she can't really say much about who is coming and who's not. So those are the ones I know are confirmed. Amy, are you upset about the no Theo? I know that you were not a Sydney fan to begin with. But I mean, at least we get a season 2 and 3, right?
Amen.
See? Like, Paula Byrne, Martha, I'm Janice, so that you know, I'm also talking to the YouTube comments. Paula Byrne she is the literary supervisor for Sanditon. She was for the season 1. I interviewed her, I think she was, I want to say 3 weeks ago. No, it was 2 weeks ago. She was someone that I interviewed for the podcast. And she gave a lot of good information. She has written a couple of books on Jane Austen, so she's kind of the authority on Jane Austen as far as I see.
Hey, I finally saw your YouTube live, but your screen's frozen, it looks like.
Oh no, Martha and Amy, is my screen frozen for you? Because I'm moving around.
Oh no, never mind. I see you now. Just a second. There were 2. You were up on one a frozen screen and on now I see you. So much more fun to see your face when I talk to you.
I know. I mean, that sounded kind of braggy, but I know. Ooh, I'm echoing in you.
So, you know, we were talking about this afternoon about what we thought should happen with the plot or could.
Yes.
Somebody else wrote that same thing on one of the Facebook pages, websites.
About Martha and Amy, can you hear the podcast as I'm doing this? Janice, are you on the YouTube thing as well?
I can see the YouTube, and I'm talking to you through the podcast.
Okay, so Martha just said if Sydney isn't coming, Crow might not be either, or Babington, and that's something that Janice and I were talking earlier today, and we were discussing that Babington might not come back. I think Crow might though, and I think his connection will be to Clara, but I don't know that Babington but Babington's connection is also Esther. So if Charlotte Spencer comes back, I think Babington has to come back. Amy and Martha, can you hear when the other person is talking through the podcast? What, Janice?
I didn't really say anything right then.
What were you saying before I cut you off earlier?
What I was going to say is, how we talked about the fact that it would work nicely in them telling the story after this 2-year period if the story picks up where Sanditon's already been rebuilt, and whatever has happened to Sydney and Eliza has happened, and then Sydney wouldn't necessarily have to be in Sanditon, and also, sorry, not Crystal, but her character's name Georgiana would be of age.
Yeah.
And somebody else wrote the same thing.
I think a time jump is likely. The more I think about a time jump, the more I think that's likely.
Yeah, me too.
So I see we have more people on our YouTube live. Feel free to come in the chat. And no, Amy, I think you should be able to hear her now. I took out my headphones, so now it's my computer talking. So you should be able to hear her now. If you can't, let me know. But if you are on either one of our chats, either on Podbean or on YouTube, let us know who you are so we can chat it up. But I think what I was most upset about with the Theo thing is his character gets a really raw deal, and it completely alters everything else in the show. But I do trust the writers that they're going to come up with something. I mean, Sydney, he put his family above Charlotte every single time. And I think that they're going to introduce someone who won't do that for her, who will put her first every time.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Okay. So
I will tell you that the sisters, the Beaufort sisters, said that they were not returning.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I actually forgot the Beaufort sisters existed.
Well, and especially if it's 2 years later and Georgiana isn't staying with somebody. She's, isn't being controlled by a governess, as it were.
Yeah. Oh, and then Mrs. Griffiths wouldn't come back. I kind of like Mrs. Griffiths, though.
Well, she still could come back because, there's the pastor there in Sanditon, the vicar.
Oh, yeah. I hope he gives more sermons. That's what I'm hoping for. All right. So those of you on the live, talk with us. What are your thoughts on the season 2, season 3? Janice, you too. What are your thoughts on a season 2, season 3?
Well, I'm going to be excited to hear what they what they come up with.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Paula already has an idea.
Yes.
Since she's been reviewing it, huh?
Yeah, she said Paula Byrne said that she has been reviewing scripts since February. So she has been reworking this since February.
But she said in Twitter today that she didn't know about Theo until April.
Yep. So I wonder what because I mean, according to Andrew Davies, they were working out for a Sid lot. So, I mean,
yeah, obviously things changed.
I'm both happy and I'm mad.
Exactly. It has occurred to me that I can see why Theo feels like Sydney's character arc has been completed.
Sydney's has?
Well, that's how Theo thinks about Sydney.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that, but I can see how you would view that.
Yeah, I know you do. But from Theo's viewpoint, I can understand it.
Yeah. And I think personally, and I know we talked about this earlier, but I think personally James Stringer's is more complete than Sydney's was.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to see if he comes back at all either.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is I don't even know. I don't think he's going to be back either. Martha says that Theo didn't love Sydney like we do. Well, I think he did at first, but I think that's probably true now because he's no longer in that character, and he's. I mean,
it's
we
been
have to
so
remember it's been
long.
almost 2 years that he's been out of Sydney. That sounds really gross.
Completely, yeah. If I still say if ITV hadn't jumped the gun and canceled so early, and the pandemic hadn't happened, Theo might have done another season. You never know.
Yeah. Amy, I knew you would get that joke. I think you're the one who picked up on that. So Amy is on the YouTube channel. She and I were roommates in college.
Uh-huh.
So she's picking up on weird things I'm saying. But I think you're right. I think that if they would have done it immediately, I think it would have been more feasible for him to justify going back. I mean, when his agent did the way his agent worded it, made me it was almost like, wow, that's kind of shocking. Like, you don't think it's good enough. It's how it felt at first, but the longer I think about it, I don't know, because all she said was Theo James has moved on from Sanditon and is currently working on other projects and doesn't have time to do this, basically, is what she said. That's almost word for word. So
yeah,
at first I was almost offended for the fandom.
He's obviously made other commitments.
Yes. And he does have the time traveler's wife too.
Right.
But what I really like, and I'm going to keep saying this until I find out whether or not I like Sydney, or this new character, I'm going to call him Sydney for a while, is that we had 8 episodes to like Sydney. Okay. And now we get 2 seasons to like this other dude. And the other thing too that Paula Byrne brought up today, and several other people did too, is this isn't just a show about Sydney or about Charlotte and her men. It became about that a little bit, I think, just because that ending was so jarring and that ending was so sad, and it's not a Jane Austen ending. I think it became about it that way. But the show is about strong women. I mean, it's about Charlotte. It wasn't supposed to be that way, according to Jane Austen, as she titled The Brothers, but it became a show about strong women.
Well, it's about the strong women that are involved with these brothers.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that I'm sad that it's no longer going to be a family member. I didn't eat dinner, so I'm going to be eating pretzels while we do this. Sorry about that. But I think it's sad that she's not going to be with a family member, because I wanted her to be a true family member.
But I had that other idea, remember?
Oh, yeah. Say that. Talk about that.
My other thought was it could be that Mary has a brother that comes to stay in Sanditon and help them with running Sanditon, and Charlotte falls in love with him.
That'd be kind of sweet. I would enjoy that. Martha said that all the shows are about today as strong women, and yeah, I think they are making more shows like that. I think that I just think that sometimes we're taking it out of context, that we so badly want that relationship that becomes the focal point of the show. And I think that the relationship is definitely part of it, especially in that time. I mean, the relationships are what saved you and kept you afloat, kept you healthy, and kept you living, basically. But it doesn't have to be all about that.
It is going to be really interesting to see where Georgiana's character goes.
Mm-hmm. And I know people are all Otis, but I don't know that I mean, he did a terrible, terrible thing. I mean, he was sorry for it, but he was only sorry for it once he got caught.
You did not see that outtake.
I know. Has anybody else seen this deleted scene with the letter from Otis? Because I have not seen it. Martha says that they wrote Sydney too brooding and sexy.
Okay, so what is it, Martha? What is it that Martha wants for the next love person?
She's mad that Sydney is gone. So Martha, how are you thinking it should play out? Oh, Otis goes into the Navy in that extra clip?
Yeah, yes, that's right.
That's a big deal.
to turn his life around and reclaim, redeem himself. I think he says something like that in the letter.
I can't believe that's not more widely shown.
I don't know. Like I told you, maybe they decided they're going to undelete it and use it in the next series.
Oh, yeah, maybe. That's a good point.
We'll see.
Martha said she'd like to see Esther and Babs and Arthur, of course. Martha, you have my heart.
And Diana.
Yes. I mean, but Diana's crazy gets a little on my nerves sometimes.
She was much better. She was much better at the end.
Yes. And even in the beginning, because her and Arthur kind of swapped roles.
Yeah, that's right.
The very first time we meet them, it was Arthur who was a little, ooh, and Diana who is more calm and sedate. But Esther is, I think I prefer Esther over Charlotte, honestly.
Oh, Esther over Charlotte. Oh, yeah, okay. You switched gears on me. I thought we were talking about Arthur and
no,
Diana.
Arthur is one of my favorite. Now that Sydney's gone, Arthur just became, it's tied for him and Babs, though. I love both of those characters so deeply. Not in a weird, creepy way. I just really, really enjoy those characters. Yep. I think Arthur makes me, and Arthur is truly, truly selfless.
Yeah.
And maybe since there's a gap to fill, and maybe if they kill off Sydney, maybe Arthur will step up to be a helper. I don't know if he's capable of
that. Yeah, I don't know. I think Charlotte might come back to Sanditon to help run it.
Oh, yeah. She's absolutely coming back to Sanditon.
Yeah, but she has to have there has to be an excuse. Don't you think? Even if it's just to see Mary.
Yeah, I think that she's going to be invited back by Mary, and then Tom is going to encourage her to stay. Arthur does have wisdom, and we can see that when he's with Georgiana. Every time he's with Georgiana, he says really, like, even when he sprung her from her room, he said really kind things.
Yes.
Now, for those of you, really quick, for those of you who are on the Podbean Live, you can type in your messages and you can call in if you actually want to be heard. You can dial in and I'll let you in to speak. So just know that. And Martha also says that she's glad that Jack Fox is back.
Yes, we all are. I'm really curious to see how his character is this time.
Mm-hmm. Originally what I was thinking is how Sydney would be freed from that engagement is Eliza would throw him off for Edward, or Edward would somehow compromise her. I hope they focus more on Edward because he was delightful. Even as a it was really hard to not root for Edward. Even though he was
let's hope he finds somebody better to fall in love with, and than his sister, which that wasn't going to work from the beginning.
Was he in love with her though, or was she a tool that he used?
Yeah, I think you're right. He needs to really fall in love.
Yeah, I think he was more in love with Clara than he was with Esther, and I don't think he loved Clara either. Martha said, just thought of Sydney being married to Eliza for eternity makes me sick to my stomach. Yeah, him saying no to that role, I think the worst thing to come out of Theo James saying no to the role is that he just kind of screwed Sydney over.
Yeah.
But I will say, in the beginning of the show, my friend Amy and I were watching it kind of simultaneously, and I would text her while I was watching it, and I kept saying, Charlotte's in love with the wrong one. She's in love with the wrong guy, because I liked Stringer better than Sydney at first.
Yeah, until he turned into a really wonderful guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and now I think that Stringer's really, really not right for Charlotte.
I would agree with that. In fact, you and I discussed the fact that he might already be gone from Sanditon.
Yeah, because
if Leo can't be there.
Yeah.
Well,
Scaboo says no Stringer. You mean that he was confirmed that he's not coming back?
We have not heard.
I've been trying to watch his social media to see what he says, but he hasn't said anything yet. So much Stringer hate. I don't have Stringer hate. I think Stringer's too good. I think, personally, what I think is going to happen is I think that Janice is right. I think there's going to be a time jump. Sanditon will be done or near done, and James will already be in London in his apprenticeship. Because that's what they said in season 1. He said when Sanditon is done, he will go on his apprenticeship. So they already kind of concluded that story. Martha heard Stringer's not coming back too?
So
what do you think,
Martha, I agree with you about I was totally obsessed and in love with Sydney, and I decided today, finally, at the end of the day, that Theo has done me a favor because now I can think about something else besides Sanditon.
You can? I can't.
Well, I'm not quite there yet, but I mean, I might actually not watch an episode tonight.
I haven't watched it in a while. I've been watching something else. So Diana Kenny is online. Can you talk, Diana? I'm not sure if you're able to or not. It says you're a speaker, but I don't see you up there. What were you going to say, Janice?
I was just going to say, you understand my level of obsession that I have watched an episode almost every day.
Oh, wow. I used to be like that.
Yeah, see, this is why it'll be healthier for me.
So, we run, okay, Martha says, I feel weird about reading fan fiction now. It's all Sid Lot. There's a sadness. But while I see your point there, Martha, while I see your point, Martha, I think that makes it easier for people to continue writing fan fiction, because we all have this story of what we wanted for Sid Lot, and now we can just keep writing it. The ending that I was continuing is a Sid Lot ending, so I think I'm going to be able to finish mine without worrying about, because I was kind of thinking, I have to be honest, that there was some agents that told me season 2 was filming. So I've been aware of this for about a month and a half, about 2 months, something like that. So I kind of stopped writing at that point because I didn't know when it was coming back, but I knew it was coming, and I felt like I couldn't finish it because I didn't know how I was going to finish. But now that I know he's not coming back, I feel like I can finish it.
It'll just be your version instead of theirs.
I did it for Divergent. I'll do it for this too.
You wrote another ending for Divergent?
Yes, that ending to that book made me so mad that I rewrote it, and I only read my ending now.
Oh, I want to read yours.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But that's another Theo James one. He's in movies that end so terribly.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why he has this attitude about his character.
Maybe that's why he's satisfied. So Martha said that Mark Stanley is Henry VIII. We were trying to figure out what else he was into. Martha, what is that he's playing Henry VIII on?
Is it a series or is it a movie?
Yeah. I got the feeling, too, that he wasn't coming back. His agent said, when I reached out for the podcast, his agent said he's not interested. And that was it. That was all I got. So I kind of figured that he wouldn't be coming back. Well, you don't know. I hope he comes back, because I think I'd be more sad if they took Babington than if they took Sydney. Honestly. Is that a bad thing to say?
Well, it's because you're over it now.
Maybe. But I think Babington is a better person than Sydney.
Yeah, well, he certainly was a better person from the beginning.
Exactly. And I think what it solidified it for me was when they were in the tavern and Crow was saying, I don't remember if he used the cuss word or not. I'm trying to filter it through my head. When he said, she needs to be mastered, he said, she's not a dog, bro. She's a young lady.
Yeah.
And then, that was the moment that solidified how much I love Babington.
Yeah.
Diana says Babington is good, but Sydney is better. Sydney is more passionate, I would wager to say. And I think Sydney would be more fun to have a romantic relationship with.
This, I will say more than anything, is that they both are incredible actors at emoting.
Yeah. They are, really. Truly they are. I'd agree with that.
I mean, I just hope they get somebody that good for the new series. But I have trust because Jill cast this series. She cast Downton Abbey. She cast Poldark. I think she'll find somebody.
Yeah. And
probably maybe has already.
I don't know. I think that casting list is still up, isn't it?
I don't know. I haven't seen.
Diana says Sydney's a bad boy, and Martha says yes, Sydney's more passionate, definitely. She also says that Sydney is flawed. What I like about Sydney is the flaws, and I think that I can figure out his flaws and why he's flawed. But I think if I were to choose a partner for me between Babington and Sydney, I think I would choose Babington, just because he seems more willing to emote, and he seems more willing to have a conversation, even if it's hard, where Sydney tends to shut down. And while it would be, I would not say, if I was not married, I would not say no to Sydney Parker. But if I was given the choice, I would choose Babington over him. I think.
Well, don't you think part of the difference, and you pointed this out before, is that Babington, as far as we know, hasn't had anywhere near the hurt that Sydney had.
Mm-hmm. And everything that Sydney does and everything that he says and every way that he acts is a result of his pain.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 comments on each platform that I want to talk about. Martha says that lots of actors could do a fine job being a romantic lead. Theo is an okay actor. I love the character. That's what it was. And I agree. There are plenty that could do that job. I just think that I think Theo James picks these roles because he's really good at being the brooding, emotionally complex guy. And then she also said, if I was smart, I'd choose Babington. So you're not smart, you choose Sydney. Right. That is what makes him a complex character. And I think that's why we rooted for him, because who doesn't want to see a bad character turn good and a bad character? He was never really a bad character, but who doesn't want to see someone in pain fixed, you know? And Diana says, one thing no one has touched on is, was Charlotte really in love? She never did say it. You know, I think that's a hard question to answer.
You know what else she didn't do?
What?
Charlotte never called Sydney to his face.
Oh, she didn't?
Nope.
I wondered that was so ingrained that it wasn't proper to do that, and men just took more liberties and would use it. Because even James Stringer called her Charlotte a couple times.
I'm just making an observation. Yeah. There's a YouTube video about all the times he calls her either Miss Haywood or Charlotte, but she never to his face calls him Sydney.
Mm-hmm. Diana, Martha says she thinks that she was in love with Sydney. You know, I think I would say that she is too. I think that for as adventurously spirited as Charlotte is, I think she's still a very proper lady. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why she wouldn't have done it. But I think that she did love him but I think an interesting dynamic there is Sydney says, what do you know of love apart from what you've read? Yes.
Yeah.
We'll watch it because we'll need to watch season 2 and 3.
Well, I think, he was her first love, and obviously they're going to bring us a second love.
Yeah. And Diana said, no replacement. Theo is Sydney. A new character, like I said on the Sanditon page. Mary has a brother. Mary does have a brother. I didn't remember that, but I agree with you. It should not be recast, because even if Theo James had a bunch of faults when he played this character, which I don't, I think he played Sydney Parker very well. Theo James is Sydney Parker. To recast, I think would just be asinine.
Yeah, that is the worst to me, when they just substitute one actor for another.
Mm-hmm. And like we had talked about earlier today, is that if they did recast him, they would have to have the exact same chemistry from the get-go that Sydney and Charlotte had built up over months of filming and then over 8 episodes. Right. Because if they were to recast, that would mean that Sydney would be coming back right away. That would mean that they would pick up where Sydney and Charlotte left off, which I don't think that's achievable. And that's like a poor man's thing to do. And I don't like it.
Yeah. So I just looked it up, and he's playing Henry VIII in a series called Anne Boleyn.
Ooh, I heard about that. I wanted to see that. I didn't know he was in that. Is it weird that I can see Mark Stanley as Henry VIII?
No, it's not that weird.
I mean, because Henry VIII was kind of a jerk.
He when he was with his first wife, I think he was very sweet and kind of naive, and then things changed a lot.
Yeah, that's true. So we're all in agreement. Recasting is no good. Martha says yes, no recasting. But it was titled The Brothers. Now it's only 2 brothers. Maybe there's a long lost brother. And Amy says, OMG, recasting would be terrible. I agree. I think that Janice had, when we were having our conversation earlier, Janice had mentioned that she thinks that they'll kill Sydney off, which honestly, I don't know that I'd be okay with that either, because he's already got such a raw deal. I think maybe Sydney will be there in letters, and I think Sydney will be there in his wife is paying for the town. Unless Lady Susan and the Prince Regent, and I hope Babington will come back and save the day financially. District 13 entered the studio. I'm guessing that you are a Divergent fan. Sorry, I just had to point that out. What were you going to say, Janice?
I was just going to tell you that this series called Anne Boleyn, the woman playing Anne Boleyn is Jodie Turner-Smith, who is black. So that will be an interesting twist.
That was the article that I read. That was why I heard of it.
Yeah. Except for the fact that Anne Boleyn was kind of seen as not a great character, at least in the portrayals I've seen of her.
Not a great character.
Not a great person, sort of manipulated by her family and manipulating.
Yeah.
Manipulative. In history, not, and I don't know about this, how they're going to portray her in the show.
Yeah. But I think that's always interesting to see how they do that.
Oh, you guys, Turley Convery is in this too. Arthur.
I feel like they're all in a bunch of these things. But Turlo announced it. I think he's another confirmed cast member, because Turlo said, well, it's out of the bag now. And it was on Twitter.
Really? Well, I hope you're right.
I'll pull it up. I'm fairly certain Turlo is coming back as Arthur. I just forgot about that until you just said that. I don't know why.
Maybe he's not in, maybe he gets killed off earlier or something. He plays Henry Norris.
Diana, were you saying he's confirmed, or he's in the show with Mark Stanley? And then Diana asked, if you knew Theo James was not coming back, would you have still wanted a season 2?
I don't know. We can't go back.
I would like to say I think so, because I love the story so much, and I do genuinely love the other characters. And I don't think the show is all about Theo or all about Sydney, but I think if I would have known before the ending, I would have been more like, yes, let's push on to season 2 to see really who she's going to end up with. I think knowing after the fact makes it a little harder to have a solid opinion on that for me. District 13 says, I honestly don't think that Theo is the only person who can play Sydney. I would rather have the character than a new character.
I hate it when they change the actors on a character.
Yeah, me too. And then Diana says he made a comment of Twitter that he is going back to Sanditon. Yes, that's the comment I'm talking about, Diana, about Turlo.
Oh, I'm so happy about that.
Yes.
We need Arthur.
And he's so goofy. I love him. Martha said that I could have done without season 2 without Theo. Are you saying you couldn't have done it, or you would? And then she also said that she hopes the response does not disappoint Red Planet after all this time. Oh, Melanie, hi. Melanie is one of our admins for the Sanditon page. Melanie, I like your Divergent title.
Hi.
There you are. So Melanie's speaking now too. You would do without it. You would do it without. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, Martha. You would do it without it.
Yeah.
I also said, go ahead.
I really do love him. I just would rather have the character than not, So.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that it's just too hard to do that. What's Mushir FMA says, what's going on? We are just discussing, we discussed recasting and most of us would not want to do that. And then we were discussing any confirmed characters that we know of. I'm gonna look up what Trillo said exactly. He said, "Holy cow!" He posted a lot today.
Oh.
Oh, Crystal Clark said, "We're returning with Black writers on board, and that makes this my proudest day. Masterpiece isn't just listening to concerns; they are taking action around them."
Oh, good.
And Turlo said, "Well, I guess the word's out. Excited to continue this journey, and yes, I'm using a gift of myself to celebrate."
Yay!
I love him.
Yay! Good.
Life
Well,
is life, Mushir says. What is it? Are you for recasting or not? Or and then you said enjoy. So I'm not sure if you are heading out or if you are for or against recasting. So if you are just joining us on YouTube, let us know your thoughts about the announcements that are going on. Okay.
I'm sure Lady Susan will be back.
Oh, Sophie Winkleman, I'm fairly certain, has said, "Hey, Diana, there you are." All right, so Martha
Hello,
said,
can you hear me now?
I can,
Yes.
yes.
Oh my goodness, that was a pain. Oh, I don't have to text anymore. Hello.
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 Just to let you know, I'm the one who does all the fan art crap. No, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Because you're so disappointed about Sydney?
Huh?
Because you're so disappointed about Sydney?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so, yeah. I was devastated about it. But then I went through all the, ups and downs of the day. I'm okay with it now.
Yeah. And I think that's what I think we all needed a good day.
Yeah.
So Martha said on the YouTube live, she said, Lady Susan seems like it from that slip in the interview. I agree with you. I think that's what I'm going off of based off of what she'll be back. And she was one who said she wanted to be an interview for a podcast, but her agent, there was a switch up with her agent. So we're still trying to work out the kinks on that.
Oh,
And
that would be wonderful.
Martha also said, honestly, though Georgiana's character was the least likable, now she will be prominent. I hope she loses her attitude.
Well, we think she's going to be 2 years older. That'll help.
Yes,
I
think
hope so.
I think her storyline might revolve around her issues with the money.
Okay, am I the only person that likes Georgiana? Because I like her.
I like Georgiana, but she acted like a spoiled child a little too much.
But she was a spoiled child, and I mean, she's in an impossible situation. Like how would you feel?
Well,
I totally agree with you, but I think that I would have just liked it if she had been a little warmer to Sydney after he saved her.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That was honestly my biggest issue with her was how she treated Sydney after he did all that. And even
that is true.
Even at the dance when she ended up being right, but she said, what are your plans with Charlotte? And you, oh my gosh, somebody help me out with exactly what she said.
She said, you can't believe a word he says.
No, it was at the ball when she confronted him.
Oh, let's see. It was about, tell me you're not going to make Charlotte unhappy or,
yeah, and she said something along the lines of, "You've done it to me. How can I expect you to do any less with her?" or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But when I first saw
so much of what she said, of what Georgiana said, turned out to be a lie, or
Yeah. So Martha said, "When you spend hours doing art, it spends a lot of time thinking about Sidlot." That's true. And Diana did. I don't know, Martha. I don't know if you're on our Facebook page, but Diana has done a lot of her own art about Sidlot. They're really pretty pictures. And then she also said,
"Beautiful."
She also said, "Ruin Charlotte's chance of happiness. She's a manipulator." Georgiana is who she's talking about there. I don't think Georgiana's intentionally a manipulator, though.
Yeah.
I think she's just operating out of pain.
Well, when I first watched the series, I thought Georgiana had a crush on Sydney. And that's why she's always... You thought the same?
Yeah. Well, actually, what's funny is my husband walked in halfway through one of the episodes, doesn't follow any of this, but comes in and says, "Is there something going on between these two?" And I was like, "Georgiana and Sydney?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "No." And I tried to explain it, and he was like, "Okay," and he just walked back. He's like, "I don't know." He said he thought that there was some weird undertone in the
Yeah.
way they interacted.
That's exactly how I felt.
I think it's someone an authority figure who's really not old enough to be an authority figure for her.
Definitely.
It comes across as a little odd.
Well, and that's interesting you said that, because Paula Byrne, in that podcast that she did with Maureen, she was implying that, most of the time the person who was the guardian for a ward, when they had a ward, it was a bastard child. But there's no way, because he was only she was 9 years old when there's only 9 years difference in their ages.
Oh yeah, no, there's nothing there. I mean, I have no reason to believe that the story that Sydney tells as to how he became, the ward of Georgiana is true. There's nothing. Yeah.
And Rebecca Trulio says, or I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name, but she said, "I'm devastated about losing Sydney. To me, he's Sanditon's true hero. He sacrificed his life with Charlotte in order to save Sanditon and Tom and his family right when he was turning his life around.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever Charlotte ends up with, it'll be a non-Austen character." Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, very good.
That's a bummer. Man,
Yeah.
no, you made me sad all over again, Rebecca.
How can you be sure? How can you be sure of that?
Because the no characters left who are Austen.
Because why?
What if Charlotte falls in love with Arthur?
Arthur?
Yeah, but Arthur said he's never going to marry.
Well, it's a scene. It's a character. It's an Austen character. That's why I said it.
I see.
Maybe that could happen. She would have fun all the time.
She get nice toast all the time.
It's an excellent point. Martha said that she was going to do videos of and making one of Sydney, but now she's not going to do it. And that Theo turned Sydney into a Willoughby. I will never forgive him for that.
Oh, that was my comment earlier too.
That was mine too. Because someone had made the comment that it's no longer Austen, and I said, well, it reminds me an awful lot of Colonel Brandon and Willoughby and Marianne.
Oh yeah. I said that we wanted Sydney to be a Mr. Darcy, but he turned out to be a Willoughby.
Well, I disagree.
I know you did. I saw you comment about
it. He definitely was doing it for other people. He wasn't conniving like Willoughby.
No, I don't think
I don't know if Willoughby was that conniving though.
His was more self-serving than Sydney's was, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rebecca says that if
he is a weird character, because I think I said it when I was on that Sense and Sensibility is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think with Willoughby, he doesn't know, he's self-serving, but it's almost to a point where I guess I could see a little bit of Sydney in him, because he does what he has to for his family, or not for his family, but for himself. Yeah. And so,
but he did love Marianne, though.
He did.
He did love Marianne.
He did love Marianne, and that's why I was so questioning, because I don't think when they say conniving, I think that implies that he didn't love Marianne, and I think he did.
I think it was more, for me, for Willoughby, it was more of how, when Marianne confronted him at the ball after he was engaged, how he treated her.
Yeah.
And when Sydney was engaged to Eliza, he did not turn a dime on Charlotte. He was not rude or uncaring or unfeeling. He was the exact opposite of Charlotte. And also Willoughby lied to Marianne about how his human came to be. So I think he is conniving and self-serving. I don't think Sydney is, but I think where the comparison comes in is that Sydney has left the woman he loves to go marry a woman he doesn't love for her money out of necessity. And then the girl, Charlotte, who is Marianne in the scenario, is left heartbroken, but I think they're going to bring in a Colonel Brandon. And I know that, Amy, if you are still on YouTube, she and I in college, we were roommates, and we used to watch Sense and Sensibility in our room, and we would narrate it in weird voices. And Colonel Brandon was our favorite. He's the whole reason we went to London is Colonel Brandon. I hope they bring a Colonel Brandon for her.
So, I mean, and I completely get what you're saying. What I wasn't like trying to defend Willoughby.
Oh yeah, I know.
He's a I don't know. I think he's such an immature character, and that
that's accurate.
which makes the contrast between him and Brennan so amazing, and so interesting because I think in his head, him being mean to Mary Ann was a way of making her feel less bad about the relationship breaking up. And maybe I'm giving him too much thought.
Yes.
Or too much credit. But it's like if you're super, super mean to someone and you let them off, like you're horrible. And that's never how that works. But people seem to think that that's what happens, right? Like you're going to be like, oh, I didn't want to marry you anyway. Like, that's never what happens. You just get hurt.
So Rebecca said that if Arthur marries anyone, it would be G. And I agree with that. I do, because I don't think Georgiana will marry him, but I think that Arthur, I think he would marry more for friendship than he would for love.
Yeah.
And I think that's accurate. And then Martha says that Willoughby knew all along he needed to marry for money. Sydney didn't know that, which is an accurate thing.
That is true.
Yeah.
And he led Marianne on anyway, just like he did. Was it Colonel Brandon's niece or was it his friend's daughter that Willoughby messed with?
I think it was his niece.
Yeah. And then she said, Martha brings up a very enticing point, and she says, I wonder if they will have a Sanditon now. Yes, please.
Huh.
So, I mean,
I'll volunteer to do it.
Given any thought to maybe not a recast, because I think we're moving past a recast. I agree with everyone with the Colonel Brandon, but Brennan. But like, do we have an idea of like maybe some really hot British guy that could play?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you ever seen North and South?
Have I seen North? I have.
Anyone?
Yes, I've seen it.
I would like Thornton to be in there.
He's too old.
Yeah.
I know, but him in North and South.
Do you see what he looks like now?
No, I haven't seen him in a long time. I only know
you don't want him.
Can't we just like time travel him there and have him as he was before?
Huh.
Yeah, that would be a
good literary crush.
So do you guys think they're going to go with an older guy, or do you think I think they'll go with a younger person?
I think they'll go with someone who is more around Sydney's age, and I think they'll find someone who is Sydney's temperament roughly. I think they'll make him more kind, not as gruff, but
kind of
wounded,
maybe a mixture of like James and Sydney. But
do you guys know Nicholas Hoult?
No.
Who?
Nicholas Hoult.
No.
Who is Nicholas Hoult?
I'm gonna look him up right now.
Oh my, he is so sweet. Oh, he's amazing. I love him. Do you ever see the movie About a Boy?
Yes.
Real long time ago. It's him grown up. And he's been in a lot of movies. And he is wicked good looking. And he's my number one choice for being Mary's brother to come make Charlotte happy.
How old is he?
He's 31.
About like 30. Yep. There we go. Perfect.
I have him up on the phone right now.
Because
he's
like
wicked
the only
cute.
person I can think of, and I'm not even going to say because it's really embarrassing now because I looked at his age and I'm like,
well, now I want to know.
Well, it's also problematic because not problematic, but it's a little crossy because I was thinking and don't ask me why, but I was thinking Timothy Chalamet. Because I love Timothy Chalamet. Like, I love him. But, I mean, could you really have him playing, Little Women and a Jane Austen character? I don't know. It seems little.
I mean, I think all these characters have played.
That is true.
Like
I guess it was just because that was so recent and it was so popular, like the Little Women movie. So,
yeah. I think he's got the snark, but I think the snark would be reserved for Georgiana.
Mm-hmm.
But Martha says, she said, Richard Armitage, that's his name. I always forget that was his real name. The guy from North and South. She said he was always good to his fans, unlike Theo. I don't think Theo has as much access to his fans by design, probably. And then she said, "Oh yes, Nicholas, he is now as stunningly handsome as Theo, and he played Tolkien, just not as handsome." But looking at his picture, I think he could absolutely play Mary's brother. So this is what he looks like. For those of you who don't know who Nicholas Hoult is, I don't know if you can see it very clearly. I can see that as Mary's brother. He's pretty tall too, so I mean, he's got that going for him.
Oh, he played character in that sort of biography. Okay.
Yeah, because he was in something with one of the Fanning girls. Oh, what was her name? It's not Dakota. What was her sister's name?
Elle.
I cannot remember her name.
Elle.
But he was. It was in a period piece. It was a show. It was in a period piece. It was a show. It was in a period piece. Whoa! What is happening? Whoa! What is happening?
We got feedback going.
Whoa, what is happening?
We got feedback going. That's so
Hang on, one
weird.
second. Hang on, 1 second. That's not on my end. There we go. I don't know what just happened. Oh, someone went. Oh, that was Melanie. Okay.
I think it was me. I try to watch you on YouTube and listen to you on podcasts, and once I did that, the echoing happened.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So then I hung up, and then it went
No,
away.
yeah, that's why I muted to see if it was coming from me, but it wasn't. It was still going on. So.
Did you have the volume turned down when you were watching her on YouTube?
Do I?
No, I didn't. Well, then I would turn my volume down on my phone, and then I wouldn't hear you that way.
Yeah.
No, I mean turn the volume down on your computer.
On the video itself, not the phone. But she might not have the capability.
I'll try it again.
Rebecca says, one of the problems I see going forth is that Save Sanditon was really a Save Sidlot campaign, and so many fans are distraught and hurt. I would agree with that. I think judging just based off of the Twitter comments today alone, it was mostly about Sidlot. I think, and if I'm honest, that was probably part of the reason that I was really campaigning for it, because in the end of that show, the very last few minutes, when Sydney appeared on that horse, I was ready for it to be like, okay, this is the last episode, we're good. I mean, not really, because I was completely and totally unaware, and I think that's what got me, is I was watching as it was airing, but I did PBS Masterpiece on Amazon, so I was able to sort of binge watch it a little bit if I missed something. I was completely 100% unaware it was the last episode I was watching. And then that happened, and I went to click on the next episode, and I was completely shattered. Like, are you kidding me? And so that's why I wanted a second one, because I was so caught unaware, and I was so prepared for a Jane Austen ending. So I think that that's the way a lot of people felt.
Yep, I do think that. Don't you think the talk on, maybe I just was choosing what I looked at, but the talk on Twitter I thought got better as the day went on.
It did.
There were more people that were like, I still want to see the last 2 seasons. That's what I thought.
And I think Paula was kind of making sure people, because Paula kept posting all the positive things that people were saying, and she was like posting them rapidly. So I think that helped too, because people were seeing all these comments. Instead of getting sad, they were getting mad. They were getting better. Amy said, "I love that ending. I did not expect it." What, you wanted that ending? What is the matter with you? This is my roommate from college who said that she loves that ending. So I can be verbally abusive if I need to.
So what do you guys think about Richard Madden? Richard Madden, sorry.
I think he might be a little too old too.
Yeah.
Isn't he?
A little bit, I think. Yeah.
He was born in 86.
Who's that guy? I cannot remember his name.
He's
Newt Scamander. Who's that?
Newt's? I don't know what that is.
Oh, Eddie Redmayne.
Oh. I'll have to look. I don't know what he looks like.
But different, right? I think it could work.
Well, Richard Madden is actually a year younger than Theo James.
You know what's funny about Theo James is that, like, I could never pick how old he is. Like, he has, like, one of these faces that he could be, like, 30 or, like, 50, and I wouldn't be able to tell. Like,
Theo James?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. I agree with that.
Are you guys going to see his movie that he has coming out? Are
The
you
Time
still
Traveler's
a big
Wife.
fan?
Of course.
Wait, which one? The Time Traveler's Wife?
That's the HBO series, but the one that he looks funny. He has that funny mustache. He looks like
The one he filmed right before.
Oh,
I forget what it's called.
he looks like James Franco to me every time I see it.
He's not the lead in it.
No, he's got a, you know.
If it's a period piece, I would probably be interested in seeing it. So Martha said, or Rebecca said it won't be the same passion, which I think that's the reason we get 2 seasons though, because I think they're going to build that passion up, because we didn't have that. We saw that Theo James was passionate, or Sidney Foot was passionate at the beginning, but not to anybody but himself, which sounds also gross again. But Martha then goes on to say it will be some young British actor we never heard of, which could be true because there were a lot of people. But see, there's a lot of people in this first season that I didn't know, but it's not because they weren't popular. I mean, Mark Stanley, I didn't know, but he was in Game of Thrones. And, oh my gosh, who plays Crow? I cannot remember his name right now.
Yeah, what is it?
And Turlo, I didn't know, but I don't watch Poldark or any of the other things that he's been in. So there's a lot of, I think it would be unknown to a lot of Americans who don't have who don't pay that much attention. But that's possible.
Hey, what do you mean we don't pay attention?
Well, until they reach our television screens, they don't, or movie screens. Mr. Malcolm's List is the movie she was asking about.
Okay. Kristen says, "What about Jamie Dornan with a beard, 5 o'clock shadow? He reminds her of Theo James." I think he's way too old.
Jamie Dornan?
But I don't know. I'm not a good judge of that. I know that he's been around. He's older than me, I think.
Let me take a look.
Every time we call up an actor, if you see me looking down, it's because I have my phone in front of me and I'm looking up people. Yeah, he's a year older than I am. He's almost 40.
I don't think but he doesn't look that old to me.
Yes, he does.
You think so?
I think he looks his age.
Well, I think Jill will find somebody that a lot of people don't really know that well.
Yeah. And then Rebecca said, tonight the mood on Twitter was dark. People would have liked a warning that Theo wasn't coming back. We've worked so hard, so long. And then she said that not passion to Charlotte and City, but from the fans. So yeah, I would agree with that. But I think they structured it that way on purpose. When they announced yesterday season 2 and 3, they knew Theo wasn't coming back. So yep. I think that's part of the reason they wanted. I think they thought it would soften the blow if they gave us the good news first. That hey, you get 2 more years of this, and then by the way, he's not coming back.
Yep.
And yeah, I think
it's a testament. Ahead. Don't you think it's a testament to PBS and their partners that they persevered to do this series, even though they weren't going to know, didn't know that they would have Theo James.
Yeah, that's true. Then the passion from the fans, I agree. I think that they're going to be hurt for a while. So I think we had just today alone, we had almost 15 people leave our group.
Yeah, because if they see the new series and it's really good, they'll be back.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
you know what? We have a lot of people in pending, and I was just looking at it, and you see, so there's the positive. A bunch of people left, but some people have been reinvigorated.
That's true.
Yeah.
Kristen, Jamie Dornan is not the same age as Theo James. Theo James is a year younger than I am, and Jamie Dornan is a year older than I am. So there's about 3-year difference. 3-year difference.
But 3 years is
Drake from Poldark. I don't know who that is.
What'd you say?
That was the kid.
I don't think 3 years is that big of a deal.
Really?
I mean, they're around the same age.
It is to me, Melanie.
Well, it was DeMel's brother.
Are around the same age too, Maureen. And
I know.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
So Drake from Poldark is from About a Boy. Is that what you're saying, Diana? Drake from Poldark is the guy who was in About a Boy?
No. I thought you said who was Drake, and Drake is DeMel's brother, wasn't he?
Oh, well, I've never seen Poldark, so What does this mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She's missing out.
You know what? Watch the first 4 seasons, then you'll be okay.
I was told it's really good. Diana, what was the name of what was his name that you said?
Oh, I have to go back and look at my thing. You would think I'd remember it.
I think he's my favorite.
Nicholas Hoult. Nicholas Hoult.
Yes, I think he's my favorite so far. But I do know
really,
he's in
really good. He's played in like the zombie movie, but it's not like it's like the zombie that falls in love and then he comes back to life. Do you ever see that movie?
No.
Yes. Yep.
I wish I knew what it was called, but it's so good.
Oh, it is. It's so funny. Oh my gosh, what is the name of that movie? That's going to drive me insane.
I'm going to have to Google it while I'm talking to you.
So I'm going to go through some of the YouTube comments real quick. Rebecca says they've known Theo wasn't coming back since before Paula Byrne got the scripts in February. Really? Where did you hear that from, Rebecca? Martha said the producers must have been devastated Theo wasn't in it. Paula Byrne said that they tried. She said you can't change the minds of someone no matter how hard you tried. And then she said, and they tried. So they were working to get him. Martha said the kid who found, she's telling me who he is. Poldark is better than Sanditon, really?
Oh, it was called Warm Bodies.
Yes, that's the name of it. Yes. I took.
He was also in that movie that was that show, The Great.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about with the Fanning. What is her first name?
Oh my gosh, I'll let you know.
Elle Fanning.
Elle, yeah.
It is.
Elle Fanning.
And then Kristen says, Rebecca, how did you hear that they've known Theo wasn't coming back since before February? Okay, same question I asked. I think I really like Nicholas Hoult for that. And the more we talk about it, the more excited I get. Because I think if you guys look up his picture, he could really be Mary's brother.
I know, those blue eyes, aren't they amazing?
Yes.
What's his guy's
Rebecca
name?
said that Paula
Nicholas
knows
what?
what's in the scripts, and she said she got them in February and has been advising the producers on them. Yes, but they weren't. I don't think the scripts were completed. I think they were working on the scripts, is according to what Paula had said to me. So I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that.
And also, Paula said today on Twitter that she found out James wasn't coming back in April.
Yeah.
Well, April was only a week ago.
Well, maybe the beginning of April.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
That is a good point, though.
I'm just telling you what she said. I don't know.
I know. I'm just saying.
So do we think that there will be a time jump and Mary's brother will be there and Mary advised in an effort maybe to make up for losing Sydney, that Mary will invite her to come back and try to play matchmaker a little bit?
I think she'll definitely invite her back.
That does sound like Mary. I mean, I think Mary would do that.
I think Mary takes a lot of personal responsibility for what happened with Charlotte.
Yeah. And I mean,
I have
Mary
another
really
one
loves
for you.
Charlotte, too. So I mean, it's that. So
What was that, Melanie?
Mary really cares for Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
As well.
Yep.
So,
yeah. They are actually the topic of our podcast on Sunday. It's the relationship of Mary and Charlotte.
Oh, I'll have to do that because there's so many funny things that Mary did. I'm just like, what?
I love them.
Diana,
why don't you go over in the woods and look for a deer? Okay.
Yeah, that was weird. I bring that up in the podcast that is a weird way to play out that scene.
I just
go over here and look, but I'm gonna stand still right here, and then I'll meet you a little ways down.
No shit. And like Charlotte lives on a farm, like she in the like she's never seen a deer before. I'm sorry.
That's true.
It gets me every single time.
Maybe she never saw a private deer.
I guess not.
Martha said there will be a time jump. Sydney and Eliza move away. You think that's what'll be a move away? Janice thinks they're gonna kill Sydney.
Well, I said that maybe.
Nope.
What I said is they have to kill him off or they have to go to America or something because you can't have Sydney hanging out there with the possibility of him coming back.
Maybe he'll move to Australia. That's a joke.
I think my idea is that they got lost in a shipwreck, him and Eliza.
I like the idea of him losing his temper because he's so depressed over Charlotte, and then he accidentally beats a guy to death and has to go to the Americas.
Huh.
That would make him unredeemable.
No. I would like the idea that the end of season
Are they
end
going
of
to film
season
them
3.
together? Are they filming season 2 and 3 together? Do we know?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, if they send him to America, right? I'm thinking like a Downton Abbey thing, where one of the actors gets all like diva, right? They supposedly go send them to America, but then they come back the next season. So it's like, which that's what they did with Branson's character. They supposedly sent him to America because the actor wanted out, but then he decided he wanted to come back. So it was like, I think that if they did do something like that, send him to a different country, send him somewhere else, that would leave a loophole if, his big old acting career, his big old movie career that he's supposedly going after doesn't come back. He always could come back to Sanditon for season 3. Maybe. I'm just trying, he and I are having issues right now. So
So Rebecca said, then the script needs a major rewrite if they were originally done around Sid Lot and now Sydney's gone. Now the thing is, I thought Andrew Davies had finished the script for season 2 a while ago, but Janice told me today he just started it. But Andrew Davies was planning at the original onset of the series that it was going to be a Sid Lot happy ending, because he had said, there was an interview he did after it was canceled, and he said that, you have to remember this is supposed to be more than one season. And they said, will there be a Sydney Charlotte happily ever after? They come back and he said, of course there will. We're not perverse. So he had always intended that, and he had started the season 2 script. So yes, they probably did have to do a big workaround. I think that's the reason. Theo James, I think, is the reason it took so long to announce, because they put out the not the release. They put out the casting call in, what was it, Janice? January?
I think it was January.
Yeah, did you guys see that on Twitter? Any of you guys see that on Twitter?
No. I'll look it up. I've got a copy of it.
But they were looking for people as far back as then. So it was already in the works. They were doing another back in January at least. So,
but also Andrew Davies said that he always intended to introduce a lot of new characters in coming seasons.
Yeah.
And Rebecca said Andrew Davies promised happily ever after, and he did. My issue is he promised it was Sid Lot, but that was always what he wanted. I think we're still going to get a happily ever after. It's just not going to be, obviously, it's just not going to be with Sydney. And Martha thinks they're going to move to America, Sydney and Eliza. I just don't want him married to Eliza forever. That just seems mean.
They can get divorced. They're American.
That's true.
America get divorced.
That's true.
We do it all the time here. No problem.
Rebecca, as did Belinda, what does that mean?
If you recall, I thought that Eliza was going to die in childbirth. So
yes, you did, which would work. It's a bummer because I really like how Ruth Kearney portrayed her. So, I almost feel bad disliking her character, but her character is the only one I truly, truly disliked in that show.
Yeah,
but why do you dislike her so much?
Because she's mean. And she's nasty.
But she didn't seem very mean, like when she was talking to Sydney and she's like, I waited for you, and she had tears in her eyes. Maybe because she's been stuck with an old icky fat guy for 10 years and she finally wanted to have her hot guy back, and then he found out with another girl, she was pissed.
It is not hard to pretend to be nice to Sydney. Okay?
That's true.
That doesn't take much.
Here's why I don't like Eliza, because when we see Eliza, she sees Sydney at the ball, right? Now, if you watch in the background, the time that Eliza appears is the first time Sydney smiles really big at Charlotte. And that's the first time he's really, truly been that happy and joyous since Eliza dumped him for the old fat guy. That was her own choice. She could have had Sydney Parker. She chose, nope, I want this old fat guy who's going to give me money and who's probably going to die soon. So that was her choice. But that is when she came in, is when she saw how happy he was. And she knew there was an interest there because she saw it. I mean, you watched the episode 6 ball scene. You cannot deny that those two are into each other. And that's when she walked in. And then when she continues to see her with him, like when he walks up to her at the sandcastle competition, you could tell the jealousy sets in immediately when they come up to her. Then in the rowing scene, she interrupts that because she's jealous. And then when she knows that he's going to say, when he said, you don't have to wait for me. And she said, I've waited 10 years. And then she cut him off before he started to say something. She cut him off to say, I knew we could have it. I held out hope, blah, 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 blah. And then he tells her no. At the wedding, you could tell that something has happened. That's another thing I'm mad about. I will never hear what happened because when Sydney's talking to Charlotte, Eliza comes up. And the way she is with Sydney, it sounds like she's saying, I'm your boss now. You do what I say, and I didn't give you permission to talk to this girl. Because Sydney doesn't even know how to look at her or anything.
Well, if your fiance is talking to a young girl that you know that he likes, wouldn't you get pissed? Just saying.
Yeah, but it's not that she was mad. It's the way I didn't even have a problem with how she talked to Charlotte necessarily. I had a problem with how she was acting to Sydney. Because it just sounded like she was saying, I'm your boss, is the way it sounded like she was saying.
Yeah, you're right. They did make her a villain, and she was an excellent villain. But what makes me mad is everybody was on Facebook blaming Ruth Kearney for saying that, it was all her fault that Theo didn't sign again. That was bullshit.
Is ridiculous.
There's no way that someone had posted in our Facebook group, and I struggled with the comments. They had said that they thought that Sydney and Rose Williams or Theo and Rose Williams had a romantic relationship. That's complete crap. Oh. No, they didn't. Theo has been with Ruth Kearney for so long. He's incredibly private. There's not a chance, and he's not really led by her. I don't think. I think they mutually help each other through things. I think that's garbage.
Okay, people, stop gossiping about actors that play romantic leads on shows. Yep. If you're doing this, stop it. It's embarrassing. These are actors. They are doing their job.
Exactly. So I wanted to tell you that, Maureen, that I just looked it up. I knew I had a copy of that casting news thing, and it was January 15th when they originally listed it.
Okay. I just want to go through some of these comments real quick. Blockchain asked whose fiance is talking to a young girl. We were talking about at the wedding when Sydney was talking to Charlotte and Eliza came up. And then over on YouTube, we have, I'm not alone in how I feel about Eliza. Martha said, Theo deprived his wife of a role, which is kind of true, but I don't think Ruth was planning on coming back anyway.
She was hired before he was on this show.
Yeah. And then she said that she's busy with the baby. Which is also, I think is that been confirmed? And then Rebecca says, Eliza's a manipulator. Yes, she is. She sees him as a trophy. Yes, she does. But he also, that one I can't really hold against her because, Theo's using her too. Or Sydney's using her too. And then Hedda says, he also says he has to hold up his end of the bargain when he says goodbye to Charlotte. That's true. But I think his end of the bargain was that he marries Eliza. And I don't even think it's making her happy. I think it's just, let's put on the brave face. We're a married couple now, or we're going to be. You're going to be a father. You're going to be a husband, and that's your bargain. If you want my money, that's the way we're going to do this.
So, do you really even think she wanted children?
I think she wants whatever's going to keep Sydney.
Yeah.
And I think because I
can't imagine she would have wanted Georgiana around.
Oh,
but
she does not. I don't think she cares for Georgiana, but that's just a hunch because we don't really see them together.
Nope.
But I think that when we see Sydney talking to Tom in London, he says, I would give anything for a wife like yours. Eliza is nothing like Mary, first of all.
Yep.
And Eliza also wants him for who he was, but he's no longer that person. And we saw that in the deleted scene.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I think she just wanted whatever could keep him because I think she was well aware he didn't really want to be there.
Yeah. Well, I think we've killed this subject.
Can I ask you guys a question? Are you guys any of the writers for any of the fanfics?
I have started one, but I stopped writing it when I was told by one of the agents that they were shooting season 2 because I didn't want to ruin it. And now that I know that he's not in it, I can finish writing it.
When we talked that day, Maureen, when we talked on the podcast and I asked you if you'd heard anything, did you already know?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. But I couldn't tell because you were like, introduce me to season 2. And I was like, is she mad because she doesn't think he's going to be?
Maybe I'm just really, really good at podcasting.
I know, you couldn't. Yeah, I know. He didn't even tell me off mic, guys. Not at all.
Well, I felt like it wasn't, I felt like I didn't want to throw anyone under the bus and
it
say
could
anything.
change, at any point. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
But Martha said, are they shooting it right now? I don't think they're shooting it. I think they start in June or July.
June 1 is what the production list says.
And that says June, doesn't it?
It says June 1.
Yeah. And I don't know if it'll change now that they have to recast, or not recast, but get someone else to play Sydney. Or, oh my gosh, get someone else to replace Sydney's character. Is what I meant.
Well, I bet they've known it a lot longer than we have, so I'm sure they've had more time.
But I think it was probably around March or April when they found out. So that's a big role to fill, I think.
Yep.
Martha asked, so you figure the casted show and Theo backed out around February? I think Theo probably backed out. Well, I don't even think that he backed out necessarily. I think he just gave an answer of no. In probably March, because they didn't lock him in. If they had locked him in contractually, he would be in season 2 and 3. They didn't. So I think they had to ask everyone, are you willing to do a season 2? And I think he just said no. I don't think it's that he backed. And I think that's a misconception that a lot of people on Twitter who are mad, I think they feel like he agreed to do this and he backed out. Now, what I will say is that Andrew Davies had always planned this for a multi-season arc. And Andrew Davies always planned for Sydney and Charlotte to be Endgame. If Sydney agreed to play this role, or Theo agreed to play the role of Sydney, he would have known that too.
So, okay. So Andrew Davies did tell him, or he would have told the actor at the beginning that it was
I would assume.
multi.
I mean, I would assume because that's something you need to know as an actor to a character.
Right. Well, I mean, the reason why is like people, I mean, Bridgerton has gone through this too with Reggie John Page. And he was always told his character was predominantly a 1-season character. He was never, even though it was going to be like a 7-season show, possibly, it was not, he was always under the assumption that he would only be on it for 1 season. So I didn't know if that was, I don't know, but I feel like,
I think what happened was when ITV canceled it, that canceled any continuation of anything.
Yeah, and I can't blame the actor for thinking that, okay, it's time to move on. I have to feed myself, so.
Yeah, Martha just said what I did.
Yeah. And I think that I think that telling him that your character is meant to be with this one, but this first season is going to end where you're separate, that's important information for a actor to know. So I think that they would have had to have told him.
Yeah, you're right.
I do agree with Martha and Janice that it was they probably got released when the show was canceled because, I mean, it's been 2 years since I think 2 years since they began filming season 1, not since it was released. But it's been a long time and it's just now coming out. So I think I think honestly, Theo James has been out of this role for a while. He's taken on other projects. He's notorious for, no, I've done the role. I've moved on. I'm out of the character now, and I'm not going to get back into it. Even the Divergent series, those filmed relatively close back to back.
Right.
Yeah. You're a very good therapist. You're helping me heal.
So I want to know, Rebecca said, now it says summer, and where are you looking? What website, Rebecca?
While Rebecca's looking, Kristen said, yes, that's the point. He knew going in multiple seasons in Sidlot Endgame. That's why I'm upset. He should have never taken on a JA role. But again, I think that goes back more to if it would have been done yes, he would have, but they were released from their contracts when it was canceled, and there was no hope of it coming back other than from us crazy persistent people who fought for it.
Right.
Let's face it, the actors will never see the show the way we see it because they saw the making of it. It was broken up for them. For us, it's all one thing, you know?
Yeah. And I don't think they binge watch it the way we do over and over and over and over again to catch everything. So they're more.
He may have never even seen the whole thing. I mean, a lot of them don't watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand. I don't like to listen to myself on a podcast. So
I've never gone back and watched any of my podcasts. I only have to I do it when I edit, and then I'm all done.
Yeah.
I have somebody for you. What about Kit Harington?
He is so cute. We were talking about him in our group chat. When was it? Yesterday? Kit Harington is a little cutie. I think this might sound weird, and maybe I have weird ideas, but I think maybe he's not tall enough. I know that's not a big deal.
I don't know. I think they could make him tall.
Well, he's got fabulous abs.
He's got what?
I actually thought that Charlotte was quite short till I saw her next to the gal who played the Queen in Reign, and she was taller than her.
Yeah, but Megan Fellows is not particularly tall.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, but I really thought Charlotte was a lot. I mean, sorry, not Charlotte, but Rose was shorter than she evidently is.
Okay, so I'm going to get caught up on the YouTube comments. Martha said some of the cast didn't know about the ending because all the scripts weren't finished. They didn't find out the end until they filmed a couple episodes. Yet they might not have known the end, but Andrew Davies has always said it was always endgame for Sydney and Charlotte. Typically they don't have all the scripts finished, but they know the basic layout. It's not in writing yet, but they know the layout that they want. Rebecca then says, I have friends with access to 2 production websites with membership fees. That's where she's getting that information from, Janice.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
And then Kit is 34 years old. And I was going to say that, Martha, that his wife is in The Time Traveler's Life with Theo. That would be a fun connection.
Yeah. Is that what
he
we
is.
were talking? That's why we were talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Talk about a good-looking guy. He is really good-looking.
He is.
Oh my gosh! So this is a fun aside story that's really not relevant at all. But we were at Red Fair like a few years ago, like before pandemic, and this guy, I'm like sitting at this table, right? And this guy comes up, and he looks exactly like Kit Harington. Like, I'm
wow.
like, who are you? I kept like listening, and he was like talking. He was super friendly, and I was like, is this? And seriously, it's no joke. He had the weird hair, and I'm like, is this Kit Harington like doing some American accent? Is he like shooting in Cincinnati? Like, I was so confused. And, like, I still don't know, but I doubt it was him. But he's like, yeah, and he said his name was Kyle, and I just heard like the K at first. I'm like, what? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That was funny.
I think Kit plays a good brooder too.
He does. He's very emo.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. His sense of brooding is more. You want to feel really, really sad for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's impossible not to root for him, right? You know.
Yeah, pretty much. Kristen said, I thought they reworked the ending once they learned the show wasn't going to be renewed. Is that not the case? Well, when they learned the show wasn't going to be renewed, they didn't really continue working on the scripts, I don't think.
No, I think she's right. I think that they reworked that Davies, he wrote the last one, and I think he wrote it to make it be a real cliffhanger because he wanted the fans to go crazy. I really think so.
Yeah, that I'm pretty sure they did. I thought she meant they reworked season 2 once that's what I thought she meant.
Oh, maybe that's right. Oh, it wasn't going to be renewed though, she said. Well, whatever.
No, you're right, Janice. You're right. That's what she meant. So yeah, I think I did read that Davies changed the ending. No, maybe you're not right. Was I right? Did you mean season 2 was reworked? I mean, it was valiant effort for him to do that.
We're in agreement.
It just didn't work. It didn't pay off. I mean, it sort of did. It just sort of bit us in the butt.
Because it took so long. Let's face it, the pandemic did not help.
No, that was dumb. I mean, it didn't come out in the States until January, which was, I'm fairly certain the pandemic was at least somewhere here around that time. So, I mean, it was terrible timing.
Yeah. Well, the fact that it took so long to get to the States, ITV should never have canceled it till it came to the States.
Yeah, I agree. They should have given it a fair shot. Martha said also some of the cast were upset when they found out about episode 8. Really? Like who? Where did you read that? Because Rose Williams and Theo both said the whole time that they were satisfied with the ending.
But that's when they were doing official interviews.
But I mean, people have done official interviews before and said, no, I didn't really like how that ended. That made me sad or whatever.
Yeah. Well, when they were doing those interviews after it was canceled.
Oh, that's true. That puts a different spin on it.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that we've been here for an hour and a half. That felt like it went really fast.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys wanted to air grievances about or get out about the announcements that came in the past couple days?
I'm good. I just made my little meme about it just now. I'll post it onto your thing to see if you guys think it's funny or not.
Good.
I'm just glad to get to see more Charlotte. I think we need to stop focusing on these men and start focusing on, not stop focusing, but direct it to the real star of the show. So
yeah,
and I love Charlotte, so she's pretty awesome.
Yes, yeah. And let's hope we get a Tom Parker that isn't constantly worried about money this next season.
Oh, no more used car salesmen.
He can still be promoting getting people to stay there, but
I'm excited to see Chris Marshall back. Martha says the Beaufort sisters didn't know about the ending before they saw the script, and she also said, what could be worse than Theo begging? Did you mean begging? But I'm not sure what it means either way.
She means giving up, not coming back.
Oh, begging it in sort of thing. Okay.
Yeah. I agree, Martha. It was the worst. So we've heard the worst. So
but that's good, right? Exactly. Does everyone feel a little bit better now about how things are going to pan out after this?
Oh yeah, because my boyfriend's going to go on it. His name is Nicholas Holt. He's got really pretty blue eyes, so I'm all set.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. So, Diana, should we start campaigning for that?
I did earlier today. I got a couple of likes. They said that's a good idea on the book club.
You got to get the sisterhood involved on this.
Are you guys on the book club at all?
I think I was, but I haven't done anything with it yet.
Okay. It's a survival book club, that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you on that?
I don't think I'm on that one. I was on a Paula Byrne one. They were reading through Paula Byrne's Jane Austen book.
Oh no, not that one.
Then I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the Sanditon Survivors book club, right?
Yeah, it's all the people who wrote all the fan fictions.
Oh,
I haven't written. I just follow it. That's all.
It's so fun. The people on there are amazing. They really are.
Yeah. So when I finish my Jade Stringer fanfic, I think
there's probably a lot of that.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah.
They're up. Most of them went towards Sydney, and they're all different stories.
Yeah.
You
see, I am in the minority. I'm not team James and Charlotte, but I do
love James.
He's my favorite character. So yeah.
Hey, did you ever think of James and Georgiana hooking up?
I think I said that. Did I just say that in our chat?
Nope, you said it on here earlier.
Oh, okay, because I that's been my thing for day one.
Oh, no, I said that.
Great couple.
I didn't even see that on there, but I said I was saying that earlier, that I was like, maybe it'll be James and Georgiana, and I was like, okay, probably not. And, I don't know. I think they'd be kind of cool.
I made a fan art of those two together, and everybody's like, "Oh, they do look good."
I think you're going to be disappointed in whether or not he comes back.
See, that's when I got super, super livid. It made me mad because to lose both of them, like, I
that
was
would
like,
be stinky.
Like, I don't know, because he brings such an air of positivity and also like an air of normalcy on the show. Like, I can't even explain it, but he has something that I don't know. He's just, I just
He
like
feels
him a lot.
that, well,
But,
he was a good friend. I mean, she had somebody she could talk to about.
Yeah. Well, and going back to like James, Georgiana seems to be attracted to men, to her own probably problem, that are passionate about things, that have a purpose and a conviction. And I understand why she feels that way. But like, I could see, with, the unionizing and trying to keep everyone safe, why she would maybe gravitate to someone like him. It would be, I don't think it's that far out of the realm of possibility. But it would be a good payday for him. He deserves it, man. Give him some money.
I think he deserves someone who will love him well. If we can do a time jump and find Charlotte, or to find Georgiana, be much more matured and right, because I think James also needs someone who will encourage him in his work and kind of help him through that. I think he needs someone to bounce ideas off of. I'm not sure if that'll be Georgiana.
I mean, I guess it just depends to see if we move past Georgiana becoming, Georgiana the petulant child, and move into what a mature Georgiana is,
Hopefully.
And part of that is giving her own autonomy and letting her speak for herself and not treating her like a child, which they were consistently doing, and there was no reason to keep treating her like a child. And if I,
until she got kidnapped, at least.
Yeah.
Well, even before that, when she tried to get on the coach with no money and expected to be let on just because she could say she's an heiress, she is clueless. But I mean, that was the sign of the times, though. Women were kept clueless.
Yeah, they were. I mean,
and obviously, And obviously, Charlotte was naive about. I don't think she knew till Sydney told her that the man took control of the money when they married.
Yeah. I don't think she had that clue either. Well, I mean, Charlotte had money, but she didn't have a lot of money, So, I mean, maybe in her mind, that's never, you know what I'm saying? That's never been a situation.
Well, yeah, probably it wasn't an issue with her growing up.
Yeah, maybe she was always kind of under the impression women married for money, but not necessarily men.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to go to the YouTube comments really quick. I asked if everyone was feeling okay, and then Kristen said no. Martha said no, I'm still pissed. Rebecca said nope. So, nobody's feeling better. Martha said it will feel funny reading fanfic. It'll be too sad. And then Rebecca said that she belongs to the Sanditon Survival Book Club too. Great group. Love my Sanditon fan fiction writers. Huge respect for them all. Kristen said season 1 was written to make us care about Sydney Parker. I was as invested in his stories as I was in Charlotte's. That's accurate. I can say that. And especially when we watched how he got better with Charlotte and he was able to heal a little bit. Martha said all the fanfic is about Sidlot. There are very few stories about Tom and Mary and Charlotte by themselves. In fact, none. That shows you where the fans' hearts are. It's mostly with Sydney. I agree. Same here. I don't know what I would do without Sanditon Book Survival Club. Got that backwards somehow, but that's what Kristen said. Rebecca said, I agree. That's why I don't think I'll get over Sydney not being back. Kristen agreed. And Rebecca said she doesn't see James and Georgiana. But Kristen says she will support Charlotte and Georgiana, but for her, it's the loss of the originally planned story that she'll forever mourn. First, we missed out on the story Jane Austen meant to tell, and now we will never get to know the story Andrew Davies meant to tell. That is a very good point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you may be depressed again.
It wasn't even Rebecca this time. Kristen, you're killing me. I don't know how to put a positive spin on that.
I mean, we just found out.
Yeah. We need a week.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
And then we just need to talk about this constantly to every single person who will listen, and then we'll talk ourselves out of being sad.
Yep.
Good. And when we get the new cast, I mean the new people in the cast, that might help.
Yes, I agree. And Hedda says that she needs Andrew Davies to release the original season. Ooh, we need Andrew Davies to release the original season 2 transcript. He never finished it, but I would like to see what he would have done with that. I think that's a great idea. Kristen apologizes for everyone's tears over losing all that we lost. Thanks for bringing that up. Martha is very upset with Theo James. And she said we need a therapy group.
I think we just made one right now.
A fundraising page and pay Andrew Davies to publish his script.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much. It's past midnight here for me. I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Love everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Martha,
how do you make this?
Martha, yes, it was. He didn't finish it. It was just a little bit. Okay, so I think that I think Diana's still the only one on. So I think
I'm still trying to hang it up. I'm trying to figure out how to shut it off.
The other
10 minutes to turn it on.
We were all leaving. So thank you guys for coming on tonight. We're gonna do another one of these on June 16th. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. But we're gonna head off. We've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. I appreciate you guys more than you know, and thanks for chatting with us tonight. And you'll be able to find these you can go back and listen to these and find them on YouTube and on Podbean. So good night, everybody. I'm gonna play us out with some music.
All right.
Bye.
Maybe if you hang out, it will work
I'll
for me.
do that for you.
And calm.